What's going on, LinkedIn? Hope everyone is doing well. Excited for today. Tips in 10, episode number 1. Excited to have everyone here. We had 80 people sign up, which is amazing. I think a lot of that has to do with J.M. Ryerson and what he has to deliver in terms of content. So excited to get this thing started. Uh, and so I just want to start off with just saying, hey everyone, welcome to Tips in 10, where we're going to give the top tips in the least amount of time. This series is built to help you stay in the know without taking a chunk out of your schedule. So for the sake of everyone's time, we're going to get started. So let's welcome J.M. Ryerson, a leadership development professional who will teach you how to live an intentional life. I love that word, intentional, by using your mind, body, and soul to increase business. So hashtag let's go. JM, thanks so much for joining us today.
Brother, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, since we met, what kind of a really cool things is the fact that we have some friends that are in common, and which we never knew. So I'm going to start off with question number 1. What are some leadership qualities all leaders must have?
Yeah, man. So I try to make things easy and simple as possible. So I use an acronym called ICE. And what ICE stands for is I is integrity. Now, that is something that we all should have, of course. And that's maybe one of those permission to play values. But the truth is, you're going to be tested with your integrity all the time because of decisions like, oh, this decision's going to hurt a little bit, or it's going to cost me money. But integrity is so vitally important as a leader. If you lose that, you will literally lose your group. The second one is courage. You have to have the courage to make those really hard decisions, to have those tough conversations, the courage to make choices that sometimes the other group doesn't necessarily want to. So that's the C in ICE. And last one is to empower. This might be the most profound one as a leader, being able to say it's not all about me. In fact, the more that I can give it, opportunity to someone else, that allows me to grow. That allows my organization to grow. That allows everyone around me to grow. And so often I've heard with leaders, if I don't do it, it's just not done right. That is like the last thing I want to hear. Empower your people. I promise you, it may not look how you want it to look, but the job, if it's done and it's done in a efficient manner, who cares? Who cares how it's done? So ICE, integrity, courage, and empower, brother.
I love it. Absolutely. And I'm a huge acronym guy myself too. So doing that, it just helps me remember, someone who has ADHD, right? Another acronym. I'm all about acronyms and helping me remember. And I love the integrity, the courage and empowerment. So critical. What is 3 keys when it comes to culture?
Well, I don't know if they're keys, but I guess what I would tell you is it's certainly breaking down your culture, being clear in your values. And when I say 3, that's very intentional because I'll give you a quick story. So my second company, I actually had 6 values, and I'm on stage, I'm in front of like 1,500 people, and I'm rallying the crowd, talking about the values. And I got to number 5 and I blanked out. Now, think of it this way. I was literally one of the people in the room creating these values, and yet I can't recite it. How in the world can I expect 1,500 people to remember those values if one of the creators can't do it himself? Mike, I was so smart that day, I literally threw a 7th value into the company, and I couldn't remember 6. What I realized is that was too much. And so I believe in the rule of 3. I believe in the power of 3. So the biggest piece of advice I'll give to anyone, whether you've had your cultural values for 20 years or 2 days, make sure it's repeatable. And 3, it's just a magic number. So when I work with companies, one of the first things I do is, what are your cultural values? And if 90% of your group can't answer it, it's too many.
Well, I like that. And I'm not going to lie, that's something I got to work on here and make sure that everyone in our offices, have that ability to be able to share the 3 points or 3 things that relates to our culture. One more question, brother. I'm loving the content that you're given, and appreciate the energy. And I love this question. I love this question. What's the one thing that you hate?
Yeah, it's I try not to say the word hate ever. I try to eliminate it from my vocabulary. However, there is one thing that I loathe, I hate. I just want to rip it up. I want to burn it, and it is self-limiting beliefs, brother. One of the biggest things that I work with people on is to eradicate their self-limiting beliefs. And the biggest question I'll always ask is, why do you think that way? And typically what you'll see is because people say, well, my dad thought that way, my grandparents, the environment I was raised in. So what? Why do you have to think that way? And so when I talk about hatred, I see red when I see people limit themselves, because the world needs you to be at your best. The world needs you to show up as a spouse, as a partner, as a business, as a parent. And your self-limiting beliefs are the things that are going to keep you from that. So anytime you hear yourself say, I can't, I won't, this is why, just recognize that it's just a self-limiting belief, figure out where it came from, and let's get rid of it. So one of the things you can do is just literally write it down and release it. And that's when I talk about burning it, shredding it, eat it. I don't care. Get rid of the darn thing so you can show up as your very best.
Absolutely love it. And actually, I just did a post the other day on that word, I can't. And Henry Ford has one of my favorite quotes. He says, "If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." So, that right there, it is so limiting. And guess what, everyone? The sky is the limit. There is nothing that you can't do if you have the strength and the willpower to make it happen. Guess what? Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm telling you, and don't be afraid of failure. Do you think a lot of the reasons is because people are afraid of failure?
For sure, right? It's some fear that they've developed, and typically it's been heaped upon them. So it's like this fear is irrational to begin with. Someone
Mm,
else put their stuff on you, and here's the problem. Most of the time, it's someone really close to us. Most of the time, it's our parents, because they're trying to put you in the safe bubble. Guess what? If you're going to do something extraordinary, it's not going to be that safe. It's just not. So what? Go for it. Fail. I love to fail. One of my favorite things, brother.
I love it. I love it. All right, listen, crush those 3 questions. Awesome, awesome job. We got a little speed round though. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Waffle House or IHOP?
IHOP.
80s or 90s music?
90s.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Looking at the Tesla phone that's coming out soon.
I was not aware of that. I will
Yeah.
have to absolutely check that out. So where can our audience connect with you further?
Thank you, brother. Letsgowin.com is my website. Let's Go Win 365 on pretty much any social media platform. And the Let's Go Win podcast, brother. I love what you're doing here. It's awesome. I'm looking at all these comments. These people are loving what you're doing, brother. Keep up the great work.
Appreciate you. And Cassie, she'll be writing the channels for you in the chat. Where can we purchase your 2 books? Let's Go Win and the
Amazon.
Champions Daily.
Sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
Amazon, it's available, or on my website. But letsgowin.com, so Let's Go Win or Champions Daily Playbook. That's kind of a shorter book. If people don't love to read, that's just something you can accomplish a goal in 90 days if you just follow it. It's an easy little formula.
Love it. I just heard a survey or a stat that in 21 days, it takes 21 days to build a habit. So get it done. Listen, Jan, thank you so much for being on here today for the first episode of Tips in 10, where we give the top tips in the least amount of time. Again, this series is for the busy entrepreneur. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Thanks for participating in the chat. JM, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Take care.